I think that also brings us to another good point, which is comedy is kind of at this interesting moment culturally. There is this big divide between comedians on, I think, what is acceptable to say and what isn't, or what should be said and what shouldn't be. I mean, even recently, Kathy Griffin was at the Paramount that you're going to be performing at, and there was a Trump rally outside of the theater protesting her.
Gosh, yeah. Well, and both are welcome to do what they do.
Mhm.
They can protest outside the theater, and Kathy Griffin can say whatever she wants. That's the deal. That's where we live. Uh, and by the way, if Trump gets in office, it won't be where we live for very long, because one of the things will be, he already wanted to shoot people during peaceful protests,
Mhm.
and you can be damn sure that, especially based on what the Supreme Court just did with the immunity ruling,
Mhm.
he'll do it.
Yep.
Before there were some forces there that stopped him, but those forces won't be there anymore. And so that's another reason to vote blue all the way down the ballot. By the way, you can't just, a lot of voters like to do this thing where they go, well, I voted for a Democratic president, and so then to balance it out, I voted for Republicans in the Senate and the Congress. Like, no, because that just hamstrings that, and then they wonder why nothing gets done. We are at a crisis point. You must vote blue all the way down the ballot, or else there will be no more peaceful protests, and there will be no more, whether you like her or not, there'll be no more Kathy Griffins, because the freedom of speech thing is just Trump doesn't want freedom of speech.
Yeah,
He
well,
wants everyone to agree with him. What did he say about he was with Kim Jong-un, and when he came home, he said one of the things he noticed was that when Kim Jong-un walked by, all the people had to stand up. And Trump said, I'd really like my people to do that.
yes.
You know what? Not with a fucking gun to my head.
Yeah,
I would not.
absolutely.
But that's what he wants. Because that way now the way our country works is that if you don't like Trump, you can say it. You can express it by not attending his functions. You can go someplace else and say, whatever you want to say about him. Not violent things, of course, but outside of that. And he's an egomaniac. He can't handle the idea that there are people don't like him. So one of the first things he's going to do is shore that up. Make sure that everyone has to
Well, I
say
mean, that's included
that
in
they like him.
Project 2025. Their Schedule F policy, in which they want to turn
Right,
the
right.
government workers into political appointees.
And by the way, they are already interviewing people for those positions. The plan in Project 2025 is to, I forget how many thousands, but to fire literally thousands of government workers. And we're talking about people who've done these jobs for years under every administration, Democrat or Republican, because they're experts at their jobs.
Well, they're the deep
Yeah, and Trump just wants people who will
state.
say, yes, sir.